And I'm going to give the woman a seed. And when she produces that seed, it's going to crush the head of the serpent. So never sleep on a woman who has a casket and a curse because she also has a seed attached to her name.
If I see one more black female, I'm not going to do shit at my expense. We're black women. No, folks are going to do everything they can to distort her truth. Hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black.
The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. To respect our women and to protect our women.
Like black women, we so tough all the time. God is real and God lives.
It's out of all of us.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling? I done got caught up in these stories, child, and I'm telling you guys, it's just out of this world, okay? The things that I'm hearing out here about these beautiful children, these females, young black women that are going missing, that are passing away, that are being harmed, it's just absolutely out of this world. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do what I always do. I'm gonna report the news, okay? These black stories, these black women, just black news, okay? All type of black, African black, Nigerian black, you know what I'm saying? American black, hell, Chinese black. Any story that I hear and I want to report it, yeah, this is going to be the place, okay? Because I just knew it in my heart that I needed to have something private just about news stories, okay? Because I think that you can have content here, you can have content there, but this specific content, this is my black news story, okay? So I'm going to tell you guys what's tea, okay? Now, here is the story, and y'all are not even going to believe what's happening with this story. Like this story right here, and it's crazy because it's been happened, but I'm just so late to the party, so I'm just now talking about it, and I'm telling you guys, it's having me just broken, okay, in tears. Let's get to it. Now, Jocelyn Joseph closed her eyes Tuesday as the man convicted of killing her 16-year-old daughter. The man, Jocelyn Joseph, she spent and shared her life with this man for like a decade, okay? He apologized and said that he had no idea what happened that the day that Alexandria Chery died. Still denying, but let's get into what he did. I can understand her pain, Samuel St. Simmons said through a Haitian Creole translator on Tuesday. Now, the pain is mine as well. She was my daughter as well. I regret what happened. I will say again, I don't know what happened. I don't know where my daughter is. I don't know. And my mind is wandering. This is what he said. Now, the circuit judge, John Marshall Keast, sentenced St. Simmons Tuesday to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, John did not speak at the Tuesday hearing, but I wish that she will be able to find comfort, is what he said, referring to, Jocelyn Joseph. He said, I will help her carry the burden, the pain, and I still love her. My feelings are still very strong for her, is what he had to say after killing his longtime spouse, or the woman that he was with for a decade, killing her daughter. Outside the courthouse, Assistant State Attorney Ryan Williams said that he was not impressed by St. Simmons' apology. St. Simmons has never told the truth, he said. Now, the guy who killed her, his last name is St. Simmons. So when you guys hear me saying that, just know that that's who I'm, referring to. St. Simmons was sentenced 3 years, 10 months, and 15 days after Alexandria, an Olympia high school student, on her summer vacation disappeared from her bedroom. Now, Andrea, mother, reported her missing July 28, 2014. Her body was found near the Osceola Polk county line a few days after, with stab founds and skull fractures. And St. Simmons already in custody for lying to deputies investigating a missing child's case, was ultimately charged with first-degree murder. Earlier this year, a jury convicted him of murder, child abuse, lying to investigators, but decided to recommend a sentence of life in prison instead of the death penalty. The mother actually she huddled with prosecutors after leaving the courtroom, hugging them and saying, thank you, thank God, thank Jesus. She said, God is working.
Suspect in the death of an Orange County teenager is also accused of sexually abusing the girl. That's what the girl's mother says in newly uncovered court documents. West 2's Michelle Meredith is live with what else is inside those documents. Michelle. Well, Alex's mother filed this injunction to try to keep St. Simone away from her daughter, but she filed it July 31st. By that time, it was too late. 3 days after Alexandria Chery went missing, her mother filed a formal complaint accusing Chenelle St. Simone of molesting the girl a year ago, in August 2013. The injunction says Alexandria told family members that St. Simone sexually harassed and molested her while she was in the car with him. The girl's mother, Rosalie Joseph, goes on to say that one of my nieces was in the car when it happened. The girl's uncle says it's unclear when his sister came to know about this, but Ray Joseph says he did know there was a house rule that St. Simone was not to be left alone with Alexandria.
I wish if she was going through something, she would have told me, because at least I could have do something about it.
St. Simone was the boyfriend of Alex's mother, lived with the family, and is the main suspect in her disappearance and death. The injunction says on the day Alex went missing, there was blood in the trash can, on the counter, and on the wall of their apartment. Alex's mother found a pair of St. Simone's underwear beneath the girl's bed, bloody, smelling of bleach. According to court documents, when he saw the underwear, St. Simone grabbed them from Alex's mother and said, "These are mine. Somebody is trying to get me in trouble." The badly decomposed body of 16-year-old Alexandria Chery was found August 1st, exactly 1 day after her mother filed the injunction to keep St. Simone away from her daughter. The words are haunting. She wrote, "I know that he has also previously sexually abused her. Please grant me this order of protection on behalf of my daughter, Alexandria." Now, the petition for this injunction was eventually dismissed by the courts because Alex's mom did not show up for a hearing scheduled on August 15th. But by that time, she was planning her daughter's funeral.
The jury saw a sometimes joking and smiling St. Simon accused of killing his girlfriend's 16-year-old daughter back in 2014. Questioned by Orange County detectives the day after the victim's daughter, Alexandria Chery, was reported missing by her mother. Now let's talk about the video. The video shows the defendant sometimes joking and smiling, at times speaking Creole to detectives, but prosecutors said his gestures tell a different story. Orange County detectives Ricondo Lee, who questioned St. Simmons in the video, said that he saw the defendant moving his hand up and down under the table, purposely hiding cuts and scrapes that could have resulted from a violent struggle in the victim's bedroom. The jury also watched surveillance footage of St. Simon leaving the restaurant he worked at. Now, this was strange because despite him telling officers in the interview that he never left work, so you were leaving, but then you were telling officers that you never left work. Veronica Rodriguez, the defendant former manager, identified him in the video. Rodriguez said that St. Simon complained of having a sore knee, and he never reported the cuts on his hand.
Alexandria Chery was 16 years old when she went missing. She was last seen on July 28th of 2014, and she was discovered 4 days later in a wooded area. And after investigation, it was discovered that her own stepdad had done this to her. On the day that she went missing, her friend testified under oath that she had FaceTimed Alexandria because they had plans to go to Universal later on that evening. Now, she said that while she was speaking with her, her stepdad was coming in to give Alexandria some money, and that Alexandria told the friend, "Stay on the phone because I'm scared." She put the phone down, went and retrieved the money from her stepdad, and then got back on the phone about 20 seconds later. The friend stated that when Alexandria came back to the phone, she told the friend, "He tried to touch me, he tried to touch me."
After she said that her dad was going to give her some money, did she ask you to stay on the phone?
Yes.
And did she say why she wanted you to stay on the phone?
She was like, "Just stay on the phone because I'm scared."
Right, and then she put the phone down.
Yes.
Do you know how long it was between the time she put the phone down and when she came back and you could see her again?
Yes, it was like 10 to 15 seconds.
Did she make any statements to you when she got back to the phone and you could see her face?
Yes.
What did she say?
She was like, "He tried to touch me, he tried to touch me." She was gesturing to her boobs.
Now, there was reports that there was an earlier CPS case on him as far as him being inappropriate with Alexandria, and he was informed, and the family was informed, to not allow him around her. Instead of the mother breaking up with him, she decided to have a workaround where the family didn't allow him to be alone with Alexandria, so he was still in the home, but they said, okay, if we're all working and the brother is at school, she's going to go over to this aunt's house, and they were only allowed to be together when everybody was there. Now, the brother stated that this absolutely pissed Simon off because he was upset that he was not getting access to her alone.
Why do you think your sister then kept St. Simone in the house?
I mean, there could have been a lot of reasons. It could have been love. It could have been security blanket. It could have been a lot of things. I'm not sure of it.
Did there come a time when you felt you needed to prevent your sister from being alone with Chenelle St. Simon?
Yes, sir.
How did you go about doing that without saying what anybody may have told you? How did you go about trying to prevent them from being alone together?
Well, we simply, when there's opportunities where she would be alone, we would definitely take her to my aunt's or someone else's house.
Did Chenelle St. Simon ever speak to you about him being, or how he felt about his restricted access to your sister Alex?
Can answer yes or no.
No, the question is, did Chenelle St. Simon speak to him?
I know, that's a yes or no answer.
No, sir.
Did,
No, sir.
do you know how he felt about the fact that his time with Alex was being limited? The question is, does he know? Yes or no?
You can answer that.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, without saying what you know, how is it that you knew that?
There was an occasion.
Hearsay by implication.
Approach, please.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'm going to try to ask a specific question, so just listen carefully to the specific question.
Yes, sir.
Did Chenelle St. Simon ever speak to you about jealousy that he had with someone else being able to spend time with your sister Alex?
No, sir.
Was your sister permitted to spend time with a relative, not Mr. St. Simon?
Repeat that?
Right. Was there an incident where there was Mr. St. Simon expressed frustration about Alex spending time with a relative?
Yeah.
Overruled.
Good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, who was the relative she was going to spend time with?
My great aunt, Claire Benjamin.
Right. And what was the frustration that the defendant expressed?
Envious, jealousy. He felt like he wasn't getting the time to spend with my sister compared to my great aunt.
Now, it was also reported that he would do extra things for Alexandria. He would keep money in her pocket. He would get her hair done. He would get her nails done. When the mother would go to work, she would tell Alexandria that she couldn't do certain things, couldn't go certain places. And he would always, fight for her side and give her iPads and take her to the clubs, a little teen club thing, and take her to parties and things that her mom said she couldn't do. He would go behind the mom's back when the mom was at work and do it for her anyway.
His relationship with your sister in the months leading up to her disappearance and eventual death.
They were always close.
Did they speak often?
Yes.
Do you know if they communicated by phone, if you know?
Yes, sir.
What did she call the defendant?
She also called him father.
Now, were there occasions where the defendant would do things for your sister Alex behind your mother's back?
Yes, sir.
How would you describe your mother's attempts to keep an eye on your sister?
She was very diligent, I would say. Very diligent.
She's strict on your sister?
Very strict.
Did your mother want your sister Alexandria Chery going out to parties or staying out late?
No, sir.
Did you ever have an opportunity to observe the defendant's reactions to your mother's attempts to your mother telling her she couldn't do things?
Yes, sir.
What was his position on that?
He was always on my sister's side.
In other words, would he advocate for her to be able to go and do things your mother would say she could not?
Correct.
Whose side were you usually on, or did you take a side?
I didn't.
Okay. Were there times when your mother would explicitly tell your sister Alex that she could not go somewhere?
Yes, sir.
And did you become aware of times where she would in fact go to those places anyway?
Yes, sir.
Do you know how she got there?
Yes, sir.
And how would she get to those places?
By Chenelle St. Simon.
Were there times during, particularly, and I'm talking about when Alex had become a teenager, okay? Were there times when your mother, Rosalie, would attempt to discipline Alex?
Yes, sir.
What kind of things would she want to discipline your sister Alexandria Chery for?
With all her technology as far as her iPad, her phone, staying home.
So if she did something she wasn't supposed to do, your mother would take those things away. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Did you ever have the opportunity to observe the defendant's reaction to those attempts to discipline?
Yes, sir.
And how would he react to any attempts by your mother to discipline your sister Alex?
He would refuse.
What do you mean?
He would refuse her punishments.
Would he assist your sister in getting items back?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you at some point become aware that your sister had a navel piercing?
Repeat that?
Did you at some point become aware that your sister had a navel piercing or a belly button ring?
Yes, sir.
Did you actually see it for yourself?
Yes, sir.
Do you know if your mother ever became aware of it?
Yes, sir.
And did you see her reaction to that?
Yes, sir.
Were you there when she found out about it?
Yes, sir.
And what was your mother's reaction?
She was frustrated
Why was she frustrated?
because she asked my sister who took you to get.
And don't say what somebody else told you. She was frustrated. Had she told your sister not to do that?
Correct.
During the time that you lived in the household, did you ever become aware that the defendant was buying items or spending money on your sister above and beyond the everyday necessities of a child?
Yes, sir.
What types of things, well, let's talk about specific items. Did you become aware that he purchased specific items for her?
Yes, sir.
Overruled. You can answer that.
Again, yes, sir.
What items are you aware that he purchased for her?
iPad, her cell phones, both of them, hair salons, clothing.
And when you say hair salons, purchased or funded her ability to attend or go to them?
Correct.
Now, did your sister work when she was a teenager in these months leading up to her disappearance?
Yes.
And did she make money for that?
Yes.
Was it enough money to purchase the items and do the things you just described?
No, sir.
Did you ever see your sister with substantial sums of cash?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you give her that money?
No, sir.
And she didn't make that much money on her own, is that right?
That is correct.
Do you know where she got that money?
Yes, sir.
And who gave it to her?
Son of St. Simon.
Lay a predicate, please.
How do you well, I'll answer yes or no to this question. Do you know who gave it to her?
Yes, sir.
Did you observe the giving of that money to her?
Yes, sir.
And who gave her the money?
Son of St. Simon.
Now, during the time that you observed the giving of all these gifts, do you know where your stepfather, Chenelle St. Simon, was working?
Yes, sir.
And where was he working?
Boston Market.
Now, what was your family's money or financial situation at that time? And at that time, I mean in the year or two leading up to her disappearance.
We were on a budget.
Was it a large budget or a small one?
A small one.
Now, to be fair, Mr. St. Simon occasionally purchased items for you, is that right?
That is correct.
Which specific items did he purchase for you?
A cell phone. He used to get me haircuts and a skateboard.
Okay.
Released in the murder of Alexandria Chery. The body of the 16-year-old was found this August in the woods by the Osceola Polk County line. The man who had been the longtime boyfriend of the girl's mother, Chenelle St. Simon, will stand trial for her murder. West 2's Michelle Meredith is live at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. And Michelle, in these documents, we get a feel for what life was like in the apartment that St. Simon shared with Alex, her brother, and their mother.
Well, according to the report, the family was on high alert on orders to never let Alex be alone with St. Simon, even though he lived with them. In newly released court documents, we learn more about the condition of Alex Chery's body when it was found near the Osceola Polk County line the first day of August. A forensic report says the body was discovered with what appeared to be a shirt around the victim's neck, that the victim was wearing either a pair of shorts or underwear, and the body was otherwise exposed, revealing a belly button ring with a pink gem. Even though the 16-year-old had only been missing for about 5 days when the body was located, the report said it was heavily decomposed with insect and animal activity. Her lower jawbone was located on the ground a couple of feet away from the body. The forensic report also says investigators found a trail of shoe tracks on the scene. In an interview with Alex's 19-year-old brother, Fonzo Chery, investigators learned more about the family dynamics, how they did not hang out together much, ate meals separately in our rooms because of an incident in 2013 in which Chenelle St. Simon, the boyfriend of the girl's mother, was accused of trying to molest Alex. After that, Alex's brother said they were told never leave her alone with him.
Now, Alexandria Chery's death has been ruled a homicide according to a newly released autopsy report from the Orange Osceola County Medical Examiner that reveals new information about what the once missing 16-year-old may have gone through before she died. The autopsy was conducted August 2nd. This was a while back. One day after Chery was found, this was conducted. So it was one day after she was found dead in a wooded area along Osceola Polk County Road after disappearing from her Orlando area home 4 days earlier. The report signed Tuesday by Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Jane Garvilla, child Dr. Jane Garvelia. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time with the last name, but the Dr. Jan actually found this. He found multiple skull fractures, indicating at least 2 blows to the head, and several puncture wounds on her body, including a stab wound on her left breast. But the medical examiner concluded that none of those injuries caused her death. He said that her body was too decomposed to determine the exact cause of death, and he feels as though Samuel St. Simmons, who was dating the daughter. He was actually dating the mother too. They're saying that there was a secret connection or relationship or something going on prior. It couldn't even be a relationship because she was underage, but they had something going on, and he was actually with her mother. Well, he has been charged with murdering the teen and dumping her body. He remains locked up in Orange County jail, and St. Simmons has pleaded not guilty. However, as we know at this point, he actually is sentenced to life. He recently requested a new lawyer, saying his current lawyer was hurting his chances to prove his innocence. Now, prosecutors claim that St. Simmons planned for like 3 days prior to, him killing her before the teen was actually killed. Now, according to investigators, St. Simmons had sexually molested, the young girl for more than a year. And the reason why they feel as though that he committed the crime was she had began to reject his advances. In the next hearing, he got sentenced and, convicted.
The 4th day of testimony against Chenelle St. Simon is wrapping up with the cell phone science that allegedly ties the murder suspect to the place he's accused of dumping Alexandria Chery's body. Good evening, I'm Greg Wormuth.
And I'm Martha Sagowski. Channel 9's Field Sutton is live at the courthouse right now. And Field, most of today's testimony was related to making that link to where they found the victim.
And all of that testimony starts with a man who was just trying to do his job one day. When he found that body, he had no idea he was getting involved in a story that had already been in the news for quite a while. On the witness stand this afternoon, Emilio Saldinas told the jury his job at a place on the Osceola-Polk County line involved driving down this sidewalk every day. His drive went right past these trees, and in the summer of 2014, it started to smell.
While I was walking through the woods area, suddenly I saw some vultures.
It was the birds, he says, that convinced him to leave his everyday path and take a look.
So they were on the trees, looking down, and there was one on the floor, and that's where I saw the dead body.
Salinas led investigators to the spot where the body of 16-year-old Alexandria Chery was decomposing days after investigators believe Chenelle St. Simon, her mom's then-boyfriend, killed her and put her in this car so he could hide the evidence.
So this is the interior door jamb of the front right passenger's door.
Today, the jury saw the bloodstains inside that car and the cell phone tracking data that investigators claim turned into a trail of breadcrumbs, proving the path St. Simon took to that obscure spot the day he killed Chery.
This is I-4 right here. You can see this is Highway 27, so in the Four Corners area of Central Florida.
The FDLE says Chery's phone was there too, and in the 30 days prior to that, they say it had never made a trip that far south of Orlando.
So at this point, there's a lot that happened in this case. Honestly, I don't like to blame people. However, I feel as though, the mom could have definitely done a lot more to protect her child. She did go and try to, file for this man to not be around her child. All of that child protection got involved in all of that, only for her to still be with the man. I think that after somebody does something to your child, that the idea or the concept of believing anything that they said or even forming a relationship with them is absolutely insane. I felt like the mom had low self-esteem, and that's why the mom kept on entertaining a relationship with him after she felt some type of way or child protection got involved, talking about, hey, he's my child's not to be alone with him. And if you have to go that far out to protect your child against someone, I don't, like, personally, I don't think you need to be in a relationship with them. I don't think you need to be talking to them. I don't think it needs to be any level of connection, because if my child doesn't feel safe, I'm not going to continue to entertain you. But I feel as though the mom put her personal needs of love and her personal needs of a future, her personal needs above the well-being of her child, in my humble opinion. I just think this entire situation is crazy. My heart like burns, and it hurts for this young girl that lost her life senselessly. I feel as though, and I don't think that children can consent to a relationship. I felt as though like they had, at first, it was a situation to where this man was violating. But somehow I feel as though he was able to make this young girl feel as though that it was okay, or, it's like a situation. I know there's a term for it. The people who are criminals, and then they tend to brainwash their victims into believing that this is consensual. I feel as though that's what occurred here. I feel as though after some time, as the child began to grow of age, she was not here for it. She was not, interested in it anymore. And I think that hurt his feelings, because after they went to court, all of that had occurred, and the mom was trying to separate him from the child, and separate, period. And he was so affected and hurt and jealous that the child was spending time with family members and all of that. I felt as though that should have been a red flag for the mom, but the mom completely ignored all of the signs. So I feel as though she should have, or she could have, taken better care of her child, could have really protected her child, but she put her needs of love and whatever before her child. And I think her still even allowing this man and her child to be anywhere around each other, I think that she allowed a lot of liberties. She should have stepped up and really stepped in and protected her child better, in my humble opinion. I'm not completely blaming her for this, because he's a grown man. He shouldn't have did what he did. However, the mom did not, protect her child to the best of her ability, in my humble opinion. But that's just what I think. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I love y'all. Bye-bye.
House before everybody.
So he was gone when you woke up?
Yes.
Okay. Did anything unusual happen while you were driving the defendant to Boston Market?
No.
Was it just the two of you on the drive?
Yes.
Do you remember what time you dropped him off?
Around 6 something, almost 7 o'clock.
Was he wearing his normal Boston Market uniform that morning?
Yes.
Where did you go after you dropped him off at work?
After I dropped him off to work, I went home.
What did you do when you got back to your apartment?
When I got home, I went to take a shower to prepare for me to go to work.
At some point before you left for work, did you go to check on your daughter Alex?
No, it was when I returned after dropping off Samuel, then that's when I went to work her up for her to go to work.
What happened when you went to wake Alex up before you went to work?
When I called Alex to get up to go with me, she says no, she's not going to go with me because she has a headache. She's not going to work.
So she was supposed to go to work with you that day?
Yes.
You may.
If at any point you need a break, Ms. Joseph, please let me know, okay?
No, I'm good.
Did Alex normally go to work with you on Mondays?
Sometimes, like when I first started working, that's when I started to show her that.
Was there a specific reason she was going to work with you on this Monday that you can recall?
That day, the reason why she was going to work with me, because I had a plan. I was going to get off work earlier so she can help me.
Okay. When had you made the plan for Alex to go with you to work on that Monday? Was it that day or the day before?
Every time, like when we're going to work on that Monday, I already had planned with Alex to go to work that day.
Did you actually see Alex when you poked in and spoke to her that morning?
Yes.
Did you go in her room?
For a reason, I was just talking to her at the door, and I said, Alex, wake up to go. She lifted her head up. She said, Mom, I cannot go. Because I have a headache, I cannot go.
Is that the reason you didn't make her go that day?
Yes, I called my sister.
What did you tell your sister?
I said, my sister, don't wake up Donna, because if Alex doesn't see Donna, she could get mad.
And is that Dana St. Fleur?
Yes, Donna St. Fleur.
And is Dana St. Fleur your sister's daughter?
Yes.
And what's your sister's name?
Paula Milfour.
So Dana St. Fleur is your niece, is that right?
Yes.
Was Dana supposed to go to work with her mother and yourself that day?
Yes, that's what we do. We take both of them to work with us.
Did you do anything else besides get ready and speak to Alex that morning before you left for work?
Going back to the same thing, I said, Alex, here's some medication, so when you wake up...
When you wake up what?
To take it for the headache.
Did you drive straight to work that morning, Miss Joseph, or did you pick someone up on the way?
I didn't go straight to work. I went to the apartment to pick up my sister because my sister was working with me at the same place.
When you got to work that day, did you ever try to call your daughter, Alex Chery, from work?
Well, yes, I called her many times. When I kept calling and I could not find Alex, when I told my sister I cannot find Alex, called Dana to go check on her, my sister told me, she said, Rosalie, you're keeping too strict of a watch on her. Maybe she's just sleeping. Let her sleep.
Did you try to get anyone else to contact Alex while you were at work?
Yes, I had called Samuel Simon. I kept saying, I'm trying to find Alex and I cannot find her.
Were you able to get a hold of Chenelle St. Simon during the day?
Yes.
Are you aware of anyone who was able to get your daughter, Alex Chery, on the phone on Monday, July 28th?
Yes. No, the person that I thought could find Alex easily was Dana.
Was Dana able, to your knowledge, to be able to contact her?
Yes, that's what I believe because Dana is her good friend and everything.
Was she actually able to speak to her, to your knowledge?
No, Dana said she didn't speak with her.
You previously said that you were not able to call Chenelle St. Simon on the phone that day. Is that right?
I was calling him the whole day, but I could not get him. When I finally find Samuel was when I got off work, and then he called me to say, come and pick him up.
Did he call you on the phone that morning?
It was not in that morning at that time. It was in the afternoon around 5 o'clock.
Do you remember him calling you in the morning around 9:30?
Yes, he called me.
And what did he ask you when he called you on the phone?
He asked me 2 questions.
Can you tell me what the 2 questions were, please?
He said, where is Alex?
And what did you tell him?
I said, Alex didn't go to work with me today. She's not well. She has a headache.
What was the other question?
He asked me, where was I? I said, at work.
Do you remember what Chenelle St. Simon's phone number was back in July of 2014?
Yes, I remember it.
Can you tell me what it was?
3, 2, 1, 5, 2, 7, 13, 13.
Okay. So you mentioned that he called you that afternoon to pick him up. Is that correct?
Yes.
What time did you leave work that Monday?
I don't remember the time exactly, but it was around 5-something.
Was Paula Milford, your sister, with you?
Yes.
And where were you going to pick the defendant up from work?
Boston Market.
Did you actually pick him up from the Boston Market restaurant?
No, when I got to Boston Market, I didn't find him.
So how did you know where to go or where he was?
He called me. He told me he was at Burger King.
Did you go to Burger King?
Yes.
Was he at Burger King?
When I got to Burger King, I didn't find him, and he called me again. He said he's going into Publix to purchase something.
So did you eventually pick him up from Publix?
Yes.
Do you remember what he was wearing when he got into the vehicle or into your truck at Publix?
Yes.
What was he wearing?
He had a black pants on him. He had one of these big jacket on him, like those people who was cooking.
His Boston Market uniform, is that what he was wearing?
Boston Market, yes.
Okay. When the defendant got in the car, did you see any injuries on him?
Yes, I saw this mark on the top of his hand and I questioned him.
Well, had you seen that mark when you dropped him off that morning?
No.
What did he tell you when you asked him where that injury came from?
He told me that he was injured at work while he was opening a box and he was injured.
Did you watch Chenelle St. Simon walk from the Publix and get in your truck?
Yes.
Was he limping at all when he did that?
No.
At any point when he got in the truck with you, did Chenelle St. Simon tell you he left work that day?
As for me, I didn't speak with him because when he got into the car, the vehicle, I was already mad with him because I've been trying to call him. I couldn't get hold of him, so I was upset with him.
But he didn't tell you that. Is that right?
What was that?
That he left work.
No. The only thing that I asked was the mark that I saw on top of his hand.
Did he voluntarily tell you about borrowing his uncle's car that day?
No. I don't know anything about that.
Did he tell you, or did you tell him that you had been trying to reach Alex and could not?
I didn't say nothing to him because I was already upset with him. He didn't pick up on my phone calls.
Did you drive straight to the apartment complex, or did you drop anyone off?
No. Once he got into the vehicle from the Publix, I let him drive.
Were there any stops between Publix and picking him up and when you got back to your apartment complex?
As my sister was with me, I went to drop my sister off at a friend's house.
And did you go straight from dropping your sister off to your apartment complex?
Yes, after I dropped my sister, after she was speaking with an older person that she found, after that I went home.
When you got and parked at the apartment complex, did you go straight to your front door?
Yes, I got out and I went to the front door and I saw him staying in the vehicle. I said, how come you didn't open the door for me?
When you got to the front door, was it open or closed?
It was closed.
Was it locked?
Yes.
Did you see any damage on the front door?
No.
Did you have a key that you could use to open the front door at that time?
The reason why I had asked him to open it, he was in the same key from the vehicle, keys.
Okay. Who had keys to the apartment as of that day?
It was me, Samuel, and Franco.
Did Chenelle St. Simon still have possession of his key on that day?
I don't know because he had the key.
Was it your key on the ring that he had, or did he have his own key?
Well, his own key, he had already said the week prior that he had lost it, so I don't know.
So he previously told you he lost his key, is that right?
Yes, a week prior the incident, he said he lost his key.
So eventually he brings you the key and you go into your apartment, is that correct?
He opened the door for me and I went in, and after that he came in behind me.
When you go in your house, do you take your shoes off?
Yes, the first thing I did was took off my shoes and then I ran into Alex's room.
Can you describe what you saw when you got into Alex's room?
When I got into Alex's room, it looked like I saw somebody like who had moved and left the house.
Were there any sheets on her bed?
No, I didn't see nothing. Drawers open, everything.
Were there any clothes hanging in the closet?
No clothes in the closet.
When you'd left that morning, were there sheets on the bed?
Oh, yes, there was a big blanket on it. The bed was fixed really well.
Did Alex usually make her own bed every day?
Yes.
When you walked into her room, was your daughter Alex Chery in the room?
When I came back from work?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Where was the defendant, Chenelle St. Simon, when you walked into the room and saw these things?
I screamed out loud, and then he came into the room and looked at me, and then he looked and left.
Did he say anything to you when he came in the room?
I was already in there, my head was, and then when he got down from the stairs, and then I didn't hear what he said.
When you say he left, did he leave the apartment or just leave Alex's room?
He left the apartment. I went to look in the window in the house. I didn't see the truck in the parking.
Did you see any broken windows or anything else disturbed in your apartment except for Alex's room?
I was not really checking for all these things. It was like days after I found this small little carpet.
Okay. Then may I approach the witness what's been marked as State's Exhibit C and previously shown to counsel?
You may.
Joseph, I'm going to hand you State's Composite C. It's 2 photographs. Could you look at each one and let me know if you recognize what's depicted?
It was Alex's bed.
Okay, and is that the way it looked when you entered into her room on July 28th of 2014 when you got home from work?
Yes, but the only thing that was not on there was this white thing.
Okay, and that says the first photo. What about the second photo?
It was like that.
Okay, so do both photographs fair and accurately depict her room that you saw on the evening of Monday, July 28th, except for that white object on her bed?
Yes.
Do you know what that white object is?
Yes, it's underwear.
And where was that underwear on the bed when you first walked in, when you got home from work?
No.
We'll come back to it. So, you said that Chenelle St. Simon left the apartment after he observed Alex's room, is that right?
Yes.
Did you try to find out where he went?
Yes.
Did you call him?
Yes.
And were you able to speak with him on his phone?
Yes.
Did he tell you where he was?
Yes.
Where did he say he was?
I said, you came here and you noticed that I didn't see Alex and you left me by myself here? He said, I'm not far. I'm in front of Sam. I'll be back.
Is that Sam's Club? Is that a store near your apartment?
Sam? Yes, close by, not too far.
Did you tell him to come back?
I said, yes, you need to come back to help me find where Alex is.
When he came back, where did you decide to go?
I said, drive me to my sister's so I could find Donna so I could make a few phone calls.
And did he drive you to Dana's house?
Yes, he did all that for me.
Why did you want to go see Dana St. Fleur?
Because I put in my head, if Alex had something to do, maybe Dana knows.
When you got to Dana's house, did you speak to Dana?
I said, Dana, I just came to pick you up. We need to make a few phone calls to find out where Dana is. Alex is, interpreter's correction.
Did you learn that your daughter Alex had a boyfriend named Damian Thomas? Damian Thomas.
Damian Thomas, yes.
Did Dana call Damian Thomas?
I told Dana to call him to come and help me to help us find her.
So after Dana made these calls, did you go from her apartment back to yours?
Dana's apartment, I didn't go back. We stayed there. At mine.
Okay, so you picked up Dana and went back to your apartment. Is that right?
Yes.
Had you called the police at this point?
After we made a few phone calls calling New York, and then all the Alexandria friends said they don't know where Alexandria is, then what Dana and I did was call the police.
Did you call the police from your apartment once you got back there? When you got back to your apartment with Dana, what did you do?
What did I do after returning with Dana? I went to the neighborhood to knock on doors, but I had left Chenelle St. Simon in the house while Dana and I were trying to handle all these things.
One moment, okay, Mrs.
Thank you.
Joseph, did you ever make any attempts to ensure that Alex would not be home alone with the defendant?
No, because I didn't have any reason.
Okay. Why would you take her to work during the week?
The reason why I take her to work during the week, I was teaching her an experience how life would be stay in school.
Ever heard of a place called Mr. Money?
I know it.
What type of business is Mr. Money?
Mr. Money is the place that lend people money.
Have you ever personally been there to use their services?
One time.
You went. Did you go with the defendant, St. Simon?
Yes.
Do you know if he regularly used the services of Mr. Money?
I know he would do something, but I don't know how many times.
Do you remember where that business was located or the road you would take to get to it?
127, you take I-4, you take like you're going to Claremont. That's what I remember. I don't remember the address in my head.
Who did laundry in your house?
I do.
Do you recall being present in your house or your apartment on Tuesday when members of law enforcement took a pair of pants out of the washing machine?
I was there, but many things was happening. I was there. They said that.
Don't say what they said. So you recall the pants. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'd like you to look down to your right and State's Exhibits AJ is sitting to your right. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And know whose pants those are?
Yes.
Whose pants are those in State's Exhibit AJ?
It is the pants of Samuel and Simon.
Do you recall taking your daughter, Alexandria, to the dentist before she disappeared?
Yes.
Do you remember how long before she disappeared it was that you took her?
I don't remember because we started doing checkup for school that's going to open.
Can you tell us where the dentist was that you took Alexandria Chery to?
The street was named Paul Street. We were going down on Powers. Behind the big McDonald's, there was a dentist place.
Now, you've been testifying for a long time, so I want to clarify a few things. You drove the defendant to work on Monday, July 28th. Is that right?
Yes.
And he never mentioned the transmission problem with the truck, correct?
No.
And then you went home and checked on Alex. Is that right? That morning?
Yes. After I got off work, I went home.
No. That morning, after you dropped Chenelle St. Simon off at work, you went home and got ready for work and looked in on Alex. Is that right?
Yes.
And that was the last time you saw her. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you tried calling her during that day. Is that right?
Yes.
And then later that day, you and your sister, Paula Milford, picked the defendant up at Publix. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, earlier you told us that Chenelle St. Simon called you in the morning and asked you 2 questions. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Specifically, he asked if Alex was home or where she was.
Yes.
Before that Monday, had you told Chenelle St. Simon that Alex was going to work with you on Monday?
Yes, he knew.
When did you tell him?
Since Sunday night, we have no secret. He knows everything that's going on in the home.
I don't have any further questions this time, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cross-examine.
Good afternoon. So, you said that you met Mr. St. Simon what year?
I don't remember what year. What I remember when I met Alex was 5 years old.
So 11 years ago from 2014, is that correct?
Yes.
So does 2003 sound correct?
Well, if you count it, and that's what it is, it must be it.
And at that time, Mr. Simon was working at Boston Market?
Yes.
And he was also a cook at TGI Friday, is that right? You asked him to quit one of his jobs so he could spend more time with you?
No, I was not the one who asked him.
That time he was bringing home a paycheck to you for the household, correct?
He didn't bring me the check or bring the check to me. He would give me a portion to pay for the home.
And he was a good provider in that way?
Yes, if he. Once he have a female.
Do you mean yourself?
Yes, he was with me. He has to help me with the house.
Yes, ma'am. And he was also sending money home to Haiti, is that right?
That's what he said. I don't know.
And to his children?
I know he had a child in Haiti.
And he was providing for them financially also, right?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled. Cross, I'll give her a little way.
And he was providing for his children in Haiti, right?
Yes, that's what he told me.
Okay. And at the time that you and Mr. St. Simon developed a romantic relationship, you didn't have a car, is that right? When you originally started dating, you didn't have a car, right?
No, I didn't have a car.
And Mr. St. Simon bought a car for you, right?
The car was not he purchased for me directly. He purchased a vehicle for us to drive together.
And you mentioned your sister, Paula Milford?
In what condition?
And at some point, Mr. St. Simon also assisted her in getting an apartment, right?
Yes.
Because she had lost her job and needed someone to go sign the lease?
Objection, again, relevance.
Overruled.
No, that's not how it was.
He didn't help her get an apartment?
Get an apartment, not that she lost her job.
Oh,
Because her income was not sufficient.
I see. So he helped her in that way?
He did not sign. He signed.
Yes, ma'am.
Help sign for the house.
Yes, ma'am.
He's not the one who pays for it.
Okay. And you said that he was like a father to Fonzo and Alex,
Yes.
that he provided for them financially
Yes.
and took care of them both.
Both of us was working in the house. Everything was together.
In fact, yours and his, it was both of yours together, right?
Okay. Yes. Every year I allowed him to fill taxes with Alex.
And he would take them to the park
Yes, when they were younger.
and play with them?
Yes.
And he would drive them to and from places,
Yes.
like their friend's house or the mall?
Yes, mainly for Alex.
And Fonzo wasn't someone to ask things for himself very often, right?
No, Fonzo was not like the person that would ask easily. If you want to give him, you can give him.
But he's pretty independent.
Yes.
In fact, the only thing that Fonzo asked for was a skateboard, and he got it, right?
Yes.
And then Mr. St. Simon had also purchased for him the phone, right?
Yes.
I believe it was an iPhone.
Yes.
Ms. Joseph, do you recall giving a deposition in 2015?
A deposition of what?
So at that time, it was in an office with Mr. Williams and members of the defense team. Okay.
What is it? What deposition?
Okay. I'm sorry. A deposition is a meeting where you were asked questions and you responded to those questions, and it was recorded and you were placed under oath.
Yes, but what question?
Specifically, you were asked what was the second job apart from Boston Market, and at that time you were discussing TGI Friday, and it was
How to Boston Market.
and it was there that you went on.
Objection, improper impeachment.
Roach.
I'm sorry, it took me some time to find it.
Okay, no problem.
Originally, I had asked you if you had made Mr. St. Simon quit one of his jobs when he was working at both Boston Market and TGI Friday.
I was not the one who asked him to leave. He had left one.
And my follow-up question is, do you recall giving a deposition on June the 26th of 2015?
When they had asked me those questions, they had asked me how many jobs when I met him he had. I said 2 jobs.
And do you recall being placed under oath at that time
That's what?
to tell the truth during your deposition?
Yes.
May I approach the witness?
May.
Madam Interpreter, would you read for Ms. Joseph at least 10 through 12, but whatever she asks?
I see it. I see that they asked if he did 2 jobs. Is it 10 to 15?
Yes, ma'am, that would be fine.
Okay. I already see it.
Let her read it to you, ma'am, please. You may.
Sometimes they ask the questions like upside down.
Didn't you say you told him to quit one of the jobs?
What? He wanted to hear that it was I who asked him to quit. That's what you want to hear? That's what the lady says she wants to hear.
Now, on Monday, July 28th of 2014, you testified on direct that at some point you went to get your niece, Dana St. Fleur, right?
Yes, I went to get Dana St. Fleur.
And you were specifically getting Dana so that she could assist you in calling the police, correct?
Yes.
Because you were going to rely on her English, right?
Yes.
And
It was part of it.
yes, ma'am, and you told Mr. St. Simon that you needed to go and get Dana so that she could assist you in calling the police, right?
To make phone calls, telephone calls every day.
And he drove you all there to get Dana, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you met with Dana that evening, that was the first time that you knew that Alex had Damian Thomas as a boyfriend, correct?
I have heard of the name, but I've never really knew him. I had heard that.
But you didn't know that he and Alex were dating until that night, correct?
Yes, that night.
And you didn't know that they had an intimate relationship until that night, correct?
Objection calls for hearsay.
Overruled. She can answer if she can.
The question was, until that night, you didn't know that Damian and Alex had a physically intimate relationship, correct?
Is that? Yes.
You testified on direct that Mr. St. Simon left the apartment before you went to get Dana, right?
Yes.
That he had gone to somewhere around the Sam's Club, is that right?
When I had asked him, he said that's where he was.
And he had thought you had already called the police, isn't that right?
Yeah, but I didn't call the police. I had him go pick up Dana with me.
Right, but at the time that he came back to the apartment, he thought that you had already called the police, right?
That's him. I don't know.
When you were on the phone with him, didn't he say, haven't you called the police yet?
He had asked me. I said, no. I said, I need to go call Dana. I need to check with Dana.
And so then Mr. St. Simon came right back to the apartment, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Now, you said that when you arrived back to the apartment with Dana, you started to notice spots of blood in the bathrooms. Is that right?
That's not how I find the spots of blood.
Oh.
That's not how I said it. When I was with Dana, when we came, we went to the neighborhood. That's how I said it.
Yes, ma'am. And when you returned home from the neighborhood, is that when you saw the spots of blood?
When I came back from the neighborhood with Dana, that's when I started noticing all these things.
Okay. And Mr. St. Simon was in the bathroom, right?
Yes, he was in the bathroom.
And you were in the bathroom with him when you noticed some spots of blood on the bathroom counter?
Toilette là, était avec lui, ils ont commencé à voir Maxence sous comptoir. She took the things in the middle. She took them in the middle.
I'm sorry, I wasn't going to go through your entire direct. I'm not meaning to take anything out of order. But you testified that Mr. St. Simon had been wiping the blood inside of the bathroom. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at some point, you said for him to go, that was in the master bathroom, is that correct? The first time?
Yes.
And you told Mr. St. Simon to go into the other bathroom within the apartment, right?
I told him, go to the living room, go.
And Mr. St. Simon did as you told him, right?
And Mr. He had turned and left and did everything he wanted to do.
And he went and sat on the couch as you told him, right?
Did he touch that? Yes.
Okay. Now, whenever you told him to leave the bathroom, he didn't argue with you, right?
No.
He wasn't one to argue often or at all, right?
He doesn't argue like that.
He's pretty passive.
Yes, he is a person like that.
You said after you had spoken with the neighbors, you returned to the apartment, right? And at some point, you found underwear under the bed, right?
Yes.
And on direct, you said that Mr. St. Simon tried to take it from you and said, give it to me, right?
Yes.
And at that time, he specifically said someone put that there to frame him, right?
Yes.
You were the one that was primarily responsible for the laundry for the family, right?
Yes.
Prior to that day, you had to use a laundromat, right? Or prior to the day before. Let me rephrase that. The day before, Mr. St. Simon had bought a new washer and dryer for the apartment, correct?
I don't know anything about that. I rented the apartment with everything.
Okay. You said that there were 3 keys to the apartment, right?
Yes.
There was one on your keychain with the car key, right?
Yes.
And Fonzo had one, right?
Yes.
But Mr. St. Simon had lost his house key a week before, you testified, right?
That's what he told me. I don't know. He told me he lost his key.
And so when you were asking him to open the door, you meant with the house key that was on your keychain in the truck, correct?
Yes.
Not with his own personal key.
Me, I was not thinking about all that. I just knew he had the key, so I asked him to open the door for me.
I understand, and I just wanted to clarify, the key he had was your key, right?
Yes.
Okay. May I have a moment?
You may.
Thank you. Also missing from her room was luggage, correct?
Who had the luggage?
There were suitcases or bags in Alex's room, right?
I don't know anything about the suitcase.
Bags, duffel bags, she owned those things, right?
What type of bag?
Bags that you would carry clothes in.
These things, I don't know about them. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. And you said that Chenelle bought her an iPad, is that right?
Yes.
Also missing from her room was that iPad, right?
In Alex's room, there was nothing in her room, no clothes, no nothing. Everything was gone.
Okay, including her iPad, right?
Yeah, only the TV was there with the dresser.
The first officer that you testified that came to the house is named Deputy Barry. Do you recall telling Deputy Barry that...
Objection, proper impeachment.
Sorry?
Improper impeachment.
Do you recall?
Reading from a statement.
I don't know what she's not impeaching right now. She's asking a question. Overruled.
Judge, she's reading a statement in a report to the witness.
Make it a question, please.
I will.
Thank you.
Do you recall telling Deputy Barry that luggage was missing from Alex's room?
Yes. Me, I didn't tell the officer about any luggages because I was not the only person in the room at the time. Samuel was also. About the luggages, I don't know anything about.
Okay. Anything else? I have nothing further at this
Thank you.
time.
Redirect.
Ms. Joseph, do you recall being
Hang on just
asked...
a minute. You need to change?
No, we just checked it.
That was a balk. You started to move, so I'm sorry. I apologize, Mr. Williams.
Do you recall being asked by the defense attorney about Chenelle St. Simon contributing to the bills in the house?
Contributing, help me to pay bills?
Yes, ma'am. You remember being asked that?
Yes, he helped me.
Right. So there came a time after Alex's disappearance where he was no longer with your family, correct?
Who?
Chenelle St. Simon was no longer with your family after Alex disappeared.
Yes, he was not with the family.
Right. How long did you stay in the apartment where all this happened after Alex disappeared?
I couldn't stay in the home. I had to leave the home.
Did you have money for a new apartment without the defendant present to help with bills?
Yes, I was working, and Alex's father used to send me money each month.
Okay, so where did you go? Or did you ever go and stay on a relative's or live with a relative after you moved out of the apartment?
Judge, objection, relevance beyond the scope.
The door was opened on cross. I'll allow it.
I'll restate the question. After you left the apartment where this all occurred, did you have to go and live with a relative for a time?
Yes, I had to go live with my sister Paula because too much was on me, so I need to go somewhere where I could be at ease.
And after Alex disappeared and the defendant was not around, you had less money, right?
Yes, that's how it happened. When two doing it together and one is doing it, it's not the same thing.
Right, so it got financially harder for you, correct?
It was not really difficult for me, like a house bill, because where I was staying at my sister's, one of my paycheck could pay for it.
Okay. So you had to move in with your sister?
Habiter avec celle. Oui. Yes.
All right. Do you remember telling defense counsel that Chenelle St. Simon said, someone put his underwear there to frame me?
Yes.
Did you ever see anyone other than the defendant go into the apartment while you were with the neighbors?
No. No.
You also were asked about Chenelle St. Simon losing his key a week before. Do you remember that question?
Yes.
And he had to use the key on your key ring to open the door, right?
That's what he told me.
So if he wanted to get in the apartment, someone had to let him in, right?
Well, this question I don't know. That's what he told me. He lost his key, so I
Okay.
don't know.
Did you ever talk to Alex about not opening the door for strangers?
Objection, beyond the scope.
We're going to allow it.
Did you hear the question?
Yes, I told Alex not to open door for people, but if Alex know this is one of her people, she would open it.
No further questions.